Aim a Little Higher podcast, episode 4.
Have the graciousness to understand your flaws and understand what you don't have, but have the knowledge that those things aren't set in stone and that you are more than capable of changing anything.
You're locked into Aim a Little Higher podcast, where we interview inspirational individuals every Monday and Wednesday and answer your questions every Saturday to help turn your potential into results.
I know you're gonna dig this.
Introducing your host. He was an Olympic torchbearer. Pete Jones is National Entrepreneur of the Year and motivational speaker, Kamal Hyman.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Aim a Little Higher podcast. It's Kamal Hyman here, and it is my absolute pleasure to introduce to you today's guest. He was nominated for Best Newcomer at the British Comedy Awards in 2009. He's best known for playing Jake in the multi-award-winning sitcom Outnumbered. He gained further recognition as a skilled comedian in 2 series of the BBC family sitcom Cuckoo, which smashed all records for BBC Three ratings, and the 3rd series of Cuckoo is coming in 2016. He also had a guest appearance in the BBC situation comedy Citizen Khan. And it doesn't stop there. Tyger learned his trade as a presenter, and after 4 successful series as a presenter on CBBC's Friday Download, at the age of 17, he was given his own show, Tyger Takes On. It is my absolute pleasure to welcome Tyger Drew Honey. Tyger, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Hello, Kamal. How you doing?
Hey, I'm fantastic, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm very well, thank you.
That is a pretty impressive intro by any standards.
Well, you read it very well, so yeah.
No, honestly, you've achieved so much already, and I mean, for the listeners, can you just let them know how old you are?
So I'm currently 19, but yeah, I mean, I've been very lucky.
Awesome, that's absolutely amazing, and I think for listeners listening, this interview will be a great opportunity to not only acknowledge your achievements, but get to know you a little bit more, because the Aim a Little Higher movement is all about setting solid foundations. You know, we say, don't chase your dreams, build them. So can you tell us a bit about your foundation? Like, what were you like as a young child?
As a young child, I think, I mean, something that sort of always shone through is I was very, very competitive. It wasn't until I got to about 13 that I stopped having tantrums if I lost things, it's not a very good okay. Trait to have, but I was very, very competitive and used to have tantrums when I was younger. But other than that, I think one of the things that I always really enjoyed doing, I used to do it maybe like once or twice a week, was puppet shows. Just like to my mum and dad and stuff like that. And if they didn't like them, then I would get upset as well. So I think when I was younger, my parents, as being an only child as well, I think I was a little bit precocious, I guess. And as I got a bit more mature, I realised it's not really the way you should act.
Got you. A lot of our listeners will be listening. They're in a situation where they're in college or they're in, doing their GCSEs, and they're sort of like, what education route do I take? Do I go down the university route? Do I go down the college route? Do I get an apprenticeship? For you personally, what education route did you take?
So I went to a primary school and a secondary school. I ended up leaving school after my GCSEs. Obviously, I was in a position where I had some fantastic opportunities, and because of how lucky I'd been, I thought I'd rather kind of try and pursue things in that direction rather than stay at school and do my A-levels. So I did my A-levels via sort of homeschooling process, sort of entirely on my own. I basically bought the textbooks and entered the exams at my school, and because I didn't really have a tutor or anything, I didn't do very well. So then I didn't do my A2s. I think when you know sort of what you want to do, sometimes it's more worth just going for it. And I think I've learned far more having been sort of working, not necessarily full time, but not being in education since I've been about 16. I think I've learned so much more on all the jobs that I've done that are going to help me so much more in where I want to go in the future than any sort of schooling would have done, if you get me.
Yeah, it's powerful. So it's more about the life lessons you've learned and kind of being in the real world than when you were at school learning just the theory.
Well, there's exactly that, and also the idea that, I'm basically doing what I want to be doing, and although I want to keep moving up and up and do it on bigger and bigger scales, there's just from sort of being on set and being in front of cameras and just doing all these different things for so many years, you completely, the science of it becomes ingrained in you, and you can go to film school or whatever, but I think what's really, really helped me is just actually being given so many opportunities to spend so much time on sets and stuff. That's like the best learning process there is, I think.
Awesome. So actually learning by getting out there and doing it.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, yeah.
100%. I can vouch for that as well. I mean, after my AS levels, I left and became youth MP for Peterborough for the year. But I've always said in that year, I learned so much more about myself and about how the world works than I did in school.
Yeah,
I completely get where you're coming from. So, take us back. What was your first job?
My first job was a voiceover for it was an advert for Philips Electronics. It was for a new electronic shaver that they had, and there was the clip of this sort of 6-7-year-old boy who got picked up by his dad, who just had a shave, and the boy like rubbed his dad's face and he's like, "Oh, Daddy, you're so smooth." and yeah, that was my first job.
Awesome, and it set a bit of a solid foundation for everything else.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you have any significant or surprising achievements that have contributed to your level of success that people, might not immediately think it was a direct link, but over time you saw actually that made a massive difference? I
think basically I've got a massive passion for languages. And I actually ended up doing my Spanish GCSE quite a few years early, and then because of that sort of got to learn German as well, and I also did Latin, and it's just always been one of my passions, languages. And doing what I do now, I never realised how much it actually does help when you're sort of trying to do accents, or if you're actually delivering lines in another language or something. I'm really kind of grateful I ended up having such an interest in languages, because it really has helped me to get where I am, I suppose. Wow,
that's a big one for the listeners, because, when I go around these schools, languages is a subject that often gets a bit of stick, and especially with creatives who are like, I don't really want to do a language, I just want to study the craft. So it's really interesting that you've got, 4 different languages, and to you, they've contributed to your ability to act.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it just, if you've got to do sort of a Scottish accent or something, even just the fact that you've maybe exercised your mouth in the extent of saying something in Spanish, just because of it, the fact it's a different language, it doesn't mean there's not some similar sounds there that kind of help and stuff.
Fantastic. So can you take us to the exact moment when you discovered that this was your passion?
I think I remember I was 9. And it was just a school play, basically. It was Treasure Island, and I wasn't even the lead. I was like the 3rd or 4th lead, Squire Trelawney. But he was like the funny character, and he did like entirely steal the show. I'm not saying that was because of me, but just the way that it was written for that play. He was basically the lead, even though he didn't have the most lines. And I played the part a la Leslie Phillips, so it's kind of like this. And I just remember there's so many sort of moments when I said a really long line, and the audience just like absolutely cracked up, and I could hear my headmaster, Mr. Parfitt, with his massive laugh, like literally sounded like that.
And that laugh that fills the room.
And I just. It's the first time I'd sort of been on stage in front of loads of people, and they were laughing at what I'd said, and I just felt like, wow, this is it's pretty cool.
And you never lost that kind of passion for it. It's kept going.
I mean, obviously when something, I have as much passion as I ever have done, but there's, since then, obviously, I've, moved on to do other things, and there's times when I'm stood up in a studio in front of a microphone for 8 or 9 hours, and I'm like, my feet are killing me, and I'm like struggling to see the glorious side of it then sometimes. But no, I do have a massive amount of passion for what I do, and there is somewhere I want to be, and I really, really think if I keep, my motivation levels up, I think it's within my reach.
Awesome. And I think what's really powerful there is the fact that even though you're doing pretty well, I mean, reading over even just your intro and your bio on your website, and, I've been following you since Outnumbered, you're doing pretty well. So it's amazing to hear you're not getting complacent at all. You're saying, I'm here, this is where I'm at, but I've got bigger goals and I'm not going to stop building.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a fantastic mindset to have. In fact, we met at a Jimmy Carr comedy show.
Yeah, we did. So we were in the queue at the bar, the mental queue, weren't we? And we had a chat.
Yes, that was It was a very long, violent queue. But no, it was absolutely awesome. Got to meet your dad as well.
Yeah, it's a great show as well, wasn't it?
So, oh man, he's awesome, absolutely awesome. Would you ever consider doing stand-up?
It's something I watch stand-up comedians, and I have a massive amount of admiration for them. I think I would possibly be capable of sitting down for a couple of months and writing a stand-up show, but I don't think it would come naturally to me. I don't think I've got one of those minds to just make up jokes like that. And so I feel if I put enough time into it, I could probably write a show and perform it well. But I don't think it's. To be honest, I don't think I would be anywhere near the level of the sort of comedians on the scene today.
Hey, over time. So, I mean, you're 9 years old. You've had this passion for acting after performing. Later on, you decide, it's what you want to do for a living. What steps did you take to make that vision a reality?
Well, so basically, funnily enough, it was actually after that performance of the school play that there was actually like a talent scout in the audience who kind of spoke to me afterwards, and so I was sort of signed up on her books as like a voiceover artist, and then it just kind of went from there. I didn't really know what was going on. It was quite exciting. I thought I might be doing some kind of professional work. What's that? And then gradually she just, I had auditions and I just sort of went for them. And I always, even from a young age, I was sort of took it seriously. I made sure I knew my lines and I didn't have to look at my script. And I think it was kind of something that kind of came naturally to me. I think it is just. I think the idea of wanting to do something well has always been ingrained in me. So then, when I was being sent for these auditions, I thought, well, you need to do it properly, and I guess that was that. And sooner or later, I got a part of the Armstrong and Miller Show, and then I got part in Outnumbered, and then it went from there, really.
Powerful. So for you, it was about when opportunities arose or were presented to you, you did it properly. There were no kind of half-hearted auditions or cutting corners and having the script next to you to read from. It was literally, I'm going to learn this. I'm going to learn it with passion and deliver it to the best of my ability, even in that first audition.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's key really to getting where you want to be.
Treat even the practices like you would the real thing. Yeah,
without question. And also, I think if there are any sort of aspiring actors out there going for auditions and stuff, there is nothing more impressive than someone who doesn't walk in. You don't even walk into the room with the script, if you know what I mean. Like, it's not sort of in your hand. You don't put it. It's just literally you learned it. You just know it so well that it's just all in your head. You don't even need to look at the script on the way in there or anything. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, that's powerful. That's a nugget. That's a golden nugget right there. That was really good.
I think it's just because it's just that first impression when just at the moment you walk in and there's nothing in your hand. It's just there's just that to the casting director, the director, the producer. It's just like he cares about this part. That's what it comes down to. He cares about this part, and I think it gives you an advantage from the get-go.
Wow. Typically, how many actors audition for that same for one role?
I mean, it depends on the size of the project. If you're talking a Spielberg movie, they'll probably be seeing. I would say, I mean, I don't even know. I'd say probably 5,000 actors.
Wow.
But these are people that have been sort of asked specifically.
Yeah.
And then there'll be sort of open auditions as well, where members of the public will go. I mean, yeah, sometimes I might go for an audition and they're pretty sure they want one or two people. And so sometimes it's literally just you're against one person, two person. But generally, I'd say about mid-range project, you probably see about 20 or 30 actors.
Okay, so if you're going for an audition, there's 20 or 30 actors and 27 of them walk in with a script in their hand, you've already put yourself in that top 3 with that first impression.
Yeah, definitely. That's what it's. Yeah.
Powerful. So we're going to go on to our rapid round, where I'm literally going to just fire some random questions at you and just answer as honestly as you can.
The rapid round. Yeah, wicked.
All right. So firstly, what time do you wake up?
9.
9. Oh, very nice. What's one thing you do in the morning to guarantee a productive day?
Shower.
Fair play. Skip the shower, it's not a productive day and you smell.
Yeah.
If you could be any animal, which would you be and why?
Probably be a dog, because my dog has a wicked life. He's a wicked life. He just gets like cuddled and fed and has fun.
True. It's not a stressful life being a dog at all. That's a really good point.
No, it's not stressful at all.
That's a really good point. I like that answer. What's your favourite dessert?
Banoffee pie.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. Name one thing you could not go without.
Probably going to say my phone.
Okay. What phone you got?
I don't have a very good phone. I've only got like a Sony one. But I do use my phones like once a month, so I can't afford to get like iPhones and stuff.
Yeah, I understand that. Getting one of those every month will add up pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So you're at a karaoke bar. What's your go-to song?
Sex Bomb.
Oh, nice. Very nice. Very nice. Tell us something most people don't know about you.
I've said this a couple of times, so I don't know if some people will know it, but I can solve a Rubik's Cube.
Really? How long does it normally take you?
About a minute and a half.
A Rubik's Cube in a minute and a half?
Yeah.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah, I spent like 2 months learning, about a month learning how to do it, and I was like about 10, I just literally sat on YouTube for a month and just learned how to do it.
So there's an actual science behind it?
I mean, when you get like people at the top of the game, I remember I saw recently like some 14-year-old or something. He just broke the record. He'd done it in like 4.5 seconds. These people are like connoisseurs. They have like a sort of intense mathematical brain where they can actually understand the least amount of moves that you can get it done in. They understand the whole the intricate mechanics of it. But for someone like me doing it, you basically just have to like solve it in layers. You like get one layer done, then fill in the pieces, and then other pieces stuff. So yeah, there's a few steps, and you have to learn a few algorithms and stuff. But to be honest, anyone could do it. It's relatively simple when you know how.
But it's a pretty good party trick.
Yeah, it's quite yeah. It's impressed a few people.
4 minutes, awesome. What's your most effective daily habit?
My most effective daily habit. My most effective daily habit is probably, I would say, if I'm going to work, I don't know why, I always set my alarm sort of strangely early and lie in bed. I like to lie in bed awake rather than lie in bed asleep. And so I lie in bed awake for like half an hour, pretty much without fail if I'm going to work. And it I don't know, it just helps me I just think about what I want to happen in the day, and yeah, it's quite an effective daily habit.
Nice. So going to work, alarm gets set ridiculously early, and you just lie there for half an hour, kind of going over the day, going over your goals for that day, what's going to happen. Yeah,
pretty much. Yeah.
Nice. What's your biggest distraction?
My biggest distraction is well, I've got a relatively I would say relatively short attention span, so I do get distracted by quite a lot of things. If I'm reading a script on my phone or something and a WhatsApp comes up at the top, I will always read the WhatsApp.
Right.
And and then I think, I'm meant to be reading a script. So sometimes that is something that I can think of as a distraction.
Got you. So it's that whole social media thing.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. So we're going to go to our time travel question. Now, a time machine's created. It can only take you backwards and can't bring you back, but you keep all the knowledge you have now. You're taken back to your 18th birthday, so not very far for you. In fact, for you, let's say your 16th. Let's make it a little bit. Let's give you kind of 3 years of knowledge here. So it takes you back to your 16th birthday. Knowing what you know now, what are the first 3 things you would do?
Well, one, I think I'd try and train myself to be able to look after my phones and my keys. When I was 16, that was when I obviously sort of left school, and maybe I could have maybe I'm thinking in retrospect, maybe I could have done better in my AS levels, but I do think I tried my best. I think something I could have done, I did start learning Russian at one point when I was 16, and then I stopped because I got a bit, I don't know, I just lost motivation with it, but I'd love to start doing that again. So if I went back to 16, I'd keep up the Russian to my phones, and yeah, I'd have bought a dog earlier because I didn't get my dog until I was about 18, and yeah, he's a little angel, so maybe I'd have got him a bit earlier.
Fair enough. So train yourself not to lose your phones, try harder on the A-levels and learn Russian, and then get yourself a dog earlier. Sweet. So we've kind of spoke about what you do and how it came about, but what I want to know is why. Why do you do what you do? What gets you up in the morning? What keeps you going kind of so consistently?
I guess I do what I do. Well, I mean, I appreciate every day how lucky I am, and I think I'd be an absolute idiot, and everyone would hate me if I sort of didn't appreciate, my opportunities and take them. But also, I mean, because of the sort of, I appreciate I have this kind of a bit of a fan base and people who are interested in my life and want to see my work and stuff. So, you're sort of doing it for those people as well, because whether or not it's hard to comprehend, you realise that you can make people happy, and you can educate people, and I think ultimately that's definitely that's definitely why I do it.
Powerful. And for audience members listening who are thinking, "Wow, I'd love to get there. I'd love to be doing acting and having my own show, being able to present." What are 3 little habits or 3 actions they could take now?
Well, here's one thing that I do, which if anyone else was sort of in the room with me when I did it, they'd think it was really strange. But if I'm on my, I live on my own and stuff. So what I do sometimes, I just been sat on, I'm watching TV or something, and there's like an emotional scene in the TV. I'll pause the TV and literally for like 2 minutes be the character, like as if I was like complete intense, going into random characters, completely like crying your eyes out, doing whatever you need to do realistically. And that is just, I do that, I don't know, maybe like randomly, maybe once every 3 or 4 days. Just, it might not be anything like particularly emotional. It might just be a random conversation, or you've just caught your girlfriend cheating on you, you've won the lottery or something. But it's something that I do about every 3 or I don't know how often I do it.
Wow.
But it's just kind of like, it's just like training basically. Acting is, if you're presenting, you're acting, but if you're acting, you're not presenting to an extent, if you get me.
Yeah.
So I just think, I'm sorry, I'm going on a little bit with this one, but
wow, no, it's fine. That's really interesting.
it's just something I'm quite passionate about. As something I do quite often. I really think it's helped me be able to, if I can sort of cry a lot easier on cue because of having practiced that and stuff. And I think that's an invaluable thing to do. Also, practice your accents, because accents are always really, really important. And if you can do an accent perfectly, then it's just another really impressive thing. And yeah, I guess maybe start practicing learning lines in the technique that I use, which is read the first line, then look up and say the first line, then say the first line, then read the second line, then say them both, if you get me. So you kind of build it up a line at a time.
Okay, and you don't go ahead until you you've known all the lines leading up to that point?
So yeah, sometimes if I'm learning a monologue, I won't read the monologue. I'll learn it line at a time. So the first time I'm reading the last line of the monologue is after I know every other line. If you get me, it really helps the story build in your head, I think.
Powerful. So firstly, practice characters even while you're watching TV. Pick a character, spend a few minutes really intensely going into that character.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. And I know I read once that it takes 10,000 hours to master a craft, to become an expert on something. So if you're taking that kind of time out, even in your regular day when you're not practicing, in a traditional setting of an audition or a acting lesson, that's going to give you those extra hours. So that's powerful. Secondly, practice accents, which I personally, I like to think I'm good, but my fiancée tells me otherwise.
Oh, really?
So she says my Liverpool and Scottish sound exactly the same. So I'm working on it.
Funny enough, actually, there's some parts of Liverpool and Scotland that do sound the same. Actually, I think because of some influx of Scots a little while ago. I don't know. I'm talking rubbish.
Do you know what? I'm gonna say that next time it comes
up.
Yeah,
I think there is some. I think there's I think like in like no. I'll shut up.
No,
but you say no. You use it.
I'm like, well, actually, honey, Tyger said that there was an influx in the 90s of... Love it. So practice accents, and then finally, when you're reading your scripts, break them down line by line. Read the first one, say it without looking, then the second one, and build it up. Sort of like that shopping list game you used to play. Yeah,
it is. Yeah, I was always really good at that.
Powerful. So you've taken that method and put that into your own craft.
Yeah, I guess. And I know you only asked for 3, but I've just thought of one more thing.
Please go for it.
Is put yourself in as many different places as you can at as many different times, because it is all about being in the right place at the right time. If I hadn't auditioned for that part in that school play, then I probably wouldn't be here because I wouldn't have seen the agent. So I think, ultimately put yourself out there in as many different opportunities so as many people can see you doing what you want to do. And that's just another way you can really kind of extrapolate your chances of success, I guess.
Powerful. And I think also for the audience, from listening to your story, not only put yourself out there, but put yourself out there early. Like, I'm sure when you were 9 years old, you weren't nearly as good as you are now.
No, I mean, no, I watch old episodes of Outnumbered and stuff, and I do feel like I've come on a long way in terms of my actual levels of skill, yeah.
Powerful. So, see, Tyger could have waited until he was this age and this good to start auditioning and start getting his shows, but instead, 9 years old, got up into his school play and got involved. Please, listeners, take advantage of the opportunities around you now. Don't wait to be the finished article before you start doing whatever your goal or your craft is. Start right now, and you'll grow with it as you go. So that's powerful, especially at the age of 9 years old. Massive. So finally, you're stood on stage in front of 10,000 young people. You're only allowed to give one piece of advice before you're dragged off stage by the guys in suits.
Right.
What would it be?
I would say have the graciousness to understand your flaws and understand what you don't have, but have the knowledge that those things aren't set in stone and that you are more than capable of changing anything.
Powerful. Thank you very much. And before we let you go, how can our audience, our listeners, get in contact with you?
Well, they can get in touch with me on Twitter at TYGER at Tyger. Or they can get in touch via my management at Curtis Brown.
Awesome. And I will get both of those links up on the show notes page. If you go to aimalittlehigher.com and look for Tyger's episode, all the details will be there so you can get in contact. Tyger, thank you so much for your time. It's been an absolute honour to have you on the show.
No worries, Kamal. Thanks, man. Nice to speak to you.
Definitely. I look forward to speaking to you again and hearing some of these accents and watching you do this Rubik's Cube.
Yeah, right, cool.
Ladies and gentlemen, you can surround yourself with eagles or chickens, and you spent time with the true eagle, Mr. Tyger, Drew Honey, and Kamal Hyman. Continue to aim a little higher, and we'll see you next time. Peace.
Thank you so much for listening. You could have been anywhere in the world doing absolutely anything, listening to any show, but you chose to listen to the Aim a Little Higher podcast, and I appreciate you. Thank you so much. please be sure to like, review, and subscribe to the podcast. And if you haven't already, get over to www.aimalittlehigher.com, fill in your details into the form, and receive your free video on how to find your passion. To be in for the chance of winning a free Aim a Little Higher shirt, get over to aimalittlehigher.com, fill out the form, and then submit your question for the Saturday Q&A. The winning questions will be answered in their very own podcast on Saturday, and you will also receive a free shirt sent directly to you.